So with Jurassic World Evolution 2 being complete with its DLC lifecycle, and with the news of Jurassic World Evolution 3 being reported, I thought I'd make a video. So, with a new sequel, there of course comes new dinosaurs and other prehistoric creatures added to the roster. But which of these new additions will have connections to the wider Jurassic Park lore? I will say I think Jurassic World Evolution 2 did a great job of implementing dinosaurs that had some canon connection, even if that connection for some was minute. Although I wish it had a short section in the bio that explained this connection, because casual players may be confused as to why the creature was added. Seriously, for JW3, I hope they implement that idea. Okay, enough of my side rant. Today, we're going to list the remaining creatures that have been featured in the franchise, whether it be in some marketing material or a brief cameo in a movie, or some other established connection. I'll also explain, in my opinion, the likelihood of these animals being added in the game, because for some, I think they might remain in obscurity. I'll have my rating system on the screen right now, but of course, as always, I have some preliminary information. First, only dinosaurs and creatures related to the movie canon will be listed, so no novels, comics, other video games, toys, or any other non-canon source. The second rule is that any unnamed creature that can't be identified won't be on this list. A few examples that come to mind are the unnamed hybrids that show up on Dr. Wu's computer, or some unidentified skeletons in the Lockwood Manor. Third, dinosaurs and other animals mentioned in the in-game database will not be on this list, as there was already a video on that subject. Finally, I'm not familiar with chaos theory, so if I miss anything there, then sorry. Also, I'm going to apologize in advance for the pronunciation of some of these names. A majority of the pictures come from the JP Wiki, so credit to them. So with that being said, let's begin. The Holoscape was an attraction in the Innovation Center in Jurassic World. There are a few dinosaurs listed on it. Honestly, I think most of the dinosaurs here have a good chance of being in the sequel, and I was surprised that some weren't featured in JW2. Elaprosaurus is the first of these dinosaurs. It's a 20-foot Jurassic carnivore with a pretty unique shape. I don't have too much to say about it, but I will give it an 8 out of 10, as it's been featured in some other Jurassic Park media. Hadrosaurus. This animal is a namesake for the entire Hadrosaur family. Again, I'm surprised this dinosaur wasn't in JW2, considering there's some obscure additions to the game, especially with hadrosaurs. But I guess the rationale behind this is that even the most obscure and boring hadrosaur is more visually distinct than this animal. Also, my second point as to why I'm confused is because Hadrosaurus has a lot of ties to the movies, as it's been a scrap dinosaur in almost every movie in the franchise. I'm gonna give this a 10 out of 10 of being in the third game. Hoplitosaurus. This is an ankylosaur from early Cretaceous South Dakota. It's very similar to Polycanthus, even being thought to be synonymous with it back in the 80s. To be honest, it would be very easy to implement, but it's so obscure I don't think they're at it. I haven't even seen people on the subreddit ask for it, and they asked for some very obscure dinosaurs. I'm gonna give it a 3 out of 10. Legithosaurus. This one will be mentioned later in the video, as it appears on the list from the Dinosaur Protection Group, but it also appears in some other JP media. It's an early Jurassic dinosaur from South Africa. It's very small, only about 6 or 7 feet long. Frontiers implemented smaller species in the past, but some of the fans aren't too keen on these animals. The reason being that there's not a lot of ways to view these animals in game. If JV3 adds some nice ways to view these smaller dinosaurs, then I can see this being a 6 out of 10. Nipponosaurus. This is probably the most obscure dinosaur of this mini list. It's a very small Japanese hadrosaur, at only about 14 feet long. It's been featured in some other Jurassic Park media, but I think its inclusion would be pretty unique. We don't have a hadrosaur this size, or even a Japanese dinosaur at all. However, the reason I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10 is because Frontier would have to make an entirely different rig and set of animations for this dinosaur. But still, I hope it's in the third game. Dinosaur Corpses. These corpses appear on Isla Nublar during Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. They also appear in the Lockwood Manor, but I'm going to mention them here. Peloroplites, a late Cretaceous notosaurid from North America. Not much to say, but I think it has a better chance of being included in a sequel over Hoplitosaurus, but less of a chance than a future ankylosaur I'll mention. I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10. Teratophonius. This medium-sized tyrannosaur was from late Cretaceous North America. Honestly, I'm gonna give this one an 8 out of 10, considering Frontier really loves their tyrannosaurs. I was surprised this one wasn't in JW2, especially when the Pinocchio Rex was added. Fun fact, it was also meant to appear alive, but it was replaced by Allosaurus. Lockwood Manor skeletons and statues. In Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, the Lockwood Manor was hyped up, containing all of these dinosaur cameos that were definitely better than the movie. At some point in marketing, they were implied to be taxidermies, but then they were retconned to just be statues. I don't know what that was about. Anyway, I think most of these aren't a guarantee, but I think some of them have a decent chance. Let's start with the most famous animal, Smilodon, aka the saber-toothed cat. If JW3 adds Cenozoic animals, then this is a guarantee, not to mention that it's just an iconic animal. It appears in Camp Cretaceous and some other JP media, so 10 out of 10. Mononychus. This is a small, late Cretaceous dinosaur from Mongolia. It actually has a pretty unique shape, as it only has one finger, which is why its name means one claw. It's been in some video games and has had an action figure. Not much to say about this one, but I'm gonna give it a 6 out of 10. Cosmoceratops and Agujaceratops. I'm pairing these together as they're so alike. They're both medium-sized ceratopsids from the late Cretaceous. They both appear in some other Jurassic World games and toys. They're technically already in JW2, but as a cameo is this promo image from Fallen Kingdom that shows up in the Dinosaur Exchange. I think ceratopsid variety isn't lacking in the JW franchise, with one exception I'll cover in a second. But on the flip side, I can see them being included. They have some uniquely shaped frills compared to something like Triceratops or Pentaceratops. I'm giving them both a 5 out of 10. Protoceratops. This one I'm going to give a 10 out of 10, because like another animal I'll mention later, I'm surprised this dinosaur wasn't included in JW2. I feel like everyone knows about this Asian ceratopsid, as it's in a lot of JP media, and also in real life it's just a pretty iconic animal. So 10 out of 10, as already said. Okay, I've heard people pronounce this many ways, Cychenia, Cyconia, I don't know which one it is. This Ankylosaur is actually from the same location and time range as Protoceratops. However, I feel like Ankylosaurs are already well represented in the JW franchise, but if they were to add another Ankylosaur species, I feel like this should be the first one. Especially if the competition is between this and Hoplitosaurus. I'm going with a 7 out of 10. Indominus Rex genetic makeup. So this one seems kinda obvious, but there remain animals that make up the Indominus Rex. Deinosuchus, probably the most recognizable prehistoric crocodile. With aquatics getting some great additions to the roster and with some major updates in general, I can definitely see this one being added to the game. And if semi-aquatics are added, then that creates even more of a possibility, so 10 out of 10. Viavenator, Pygnomasaurus, and Chromosaurus. I probably butchered one of those. I'm grouping these together because I have the same critiques for all of them. They're just South American Abelisaurs. Granted, they look cool, but would they add all three Abelisaurs that look nearly identical? Especially when we have Majungasaurus, and the next dinosaur on the list has a higher possibility to be in the game. Heck, I haven't even seen people on the subreddit asking for these. I'll give them a 3 out of 10. The only reason I'm not giving them a 1 or 2 is because I do believe the Abelisaur roster is lacking. Then again, you never know. Heck, Archaeornithomimus was only added because it was mentioned in a single line of dialogue. Rugops. Now, this is probably one of the more famous Abelisaurs. As for its involvement in the franchise, it has some toys, scrap concept art, and it was even mentioned in the first game. I'm giving this a 10 out of 10. I'm surprised more people don't talk about this one. Remaining DPG dinosaurs. So the Dinosaur Protection Group is an in-universe organization that advocates for the dinosaurs. They're famously known for the promotion material for Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. Most of the species they mentioned were already included, mainly because the DPG was given some extra love in JW2. Coelurus. This is a late Jurassic theropod that's about the same size as a Coelophysis. It's also appeared in a few games, toys, and was even mentioned in the first novel. I think there's a decent chance of this being in the next game, so 7 out of 10. Miscellaneous. So this next section is just a grab bag of cameos and mentions, and to be honest, some of these are so obscure that I probably missed some. Credit to the JP Wiki for some of these. Hypsilodon. Another popular dinosaur that I was surprised wasn't featured in JW2. This early Cretaceous European dinosaur appears as a skull in Dr. Grant's trailer, and also appears in a lot of JP media. I'm giving this a 10 out of 10. Plateosaurus. Probably the most famous case of why did Frontier not add this to the game. First, prosauropods are the only dinosaur group that's not well represented in the game. Second, Plateosaurus is just a well-known dinosaur to begin with. Apparently there's a toy of this animal in the Jurassic Park Visitor Center, along with a Smilodon toy. There's also plenty of non-canon appearances, so again I'm giving this a 10 out of 10. Pterodactylus. This pterosaur is credited to appear on the Visitor Center wall as a decoration. If Alamosaurus could get a spot on the roster from a skeleton cameo, then I think there's hope for this animal. I'm giving this a 10 out of 10. Brontosaurus. This animal was mentioned by Tim Murphy in the first movie, and I'm going to give it a 1 out of 10. It's too similar to Apatosaurus in my opinion. Supersaurus. Apparently this sauropod appears on some promotional material for Jurassic World, but I don't remember that. But I'm also going to give this one a 1 out of 10. It does appear in some JP media, but I don't think they'll be able to make it stand out as much compared to some other similar species. I know this was a quick video and not as in-depth or analytical as my other content, but I hope you enjoyed it. I really do hope they add some of these animals in JW3, but Frontier does have to make them unique and stand out, otherwise we might have another Sagittarius dilemma. But anyway, let me know what you think might be in JW3 and why you think so. But also let me know if you want to see more JW3 speculation content. Anyway, on that note, let me know what you guys think and I'll see you next time.